Hey guys, it's Glenn from Glenn'sCarCollection.com, and is this going to be my favorite press car I've ever gotten? I've driven about 1,000 cars on this channel, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, but they actually weren't press cars. This is a press car by BMW North America. BMW provided this car and a full tank of gas for this video, so thank you so much, BMW North America, for believing in me and giving me this car. I think I picked the perfect September weather. It's going to be in the 70s the next few days, and this car is pretty astonishing. Now, I may do a separate video what this color is called. If not, I'll tell you what the color is called at the end of this video. We're going to do a couple videos with this car since I have kind of an extended stay with it. This is beautiful green, which I'll tell you which green it is, or you could guess in the comments. And this is Tartufo leather interior. So a lot of people, I think this looks really good with the Isle of Man green. Most people get the Kalami orange. This is Tartufo, which is more like a brownish color, which I think actually suits the Isle of Green better. And it also, I think, suits this green. Now, these M4 convertibles only come one way, and that's competition package. So you get the over 500 horsepower and all-wheel drive. I wouldn't mind seeing a rear drive manual version of this car, because to me convertibles are just fun, right? If you want the fastest car, you're going to want the fastest transmission and the most horsepower, so that makes sense for the regular M3 and the M4. And BMW is nice enough to give us a rear drive version with a manual transmission, because that makes sense. If you like manual transmissions, you most likely want a rear drive car. Here in the Northeast, you probably don't buy a convertible, or if you do, it's a summer car. So I think this is BMW's way of just saying, hey, you can use this convertible all year round. Now, it's got a twin turbo engine. The naturally aspirated V8 is long gone. And the way you open it is just with the latch, just like my 2016 M2. You just press this twice and that'll open the top. You get the normal BMW steering wheel here that you see in most of the cars that we just saw on our 2023 M340. Now, the advantage of just doing the latch twice is there's no secondary latch, so you don't have to worry about it. And here is the engine in all its glory. You even get the strut bar. You don't get the carbon fiber that we saw on the last gen M3 and M4, which I thought was pretty cool. But again, a turbocharged 6-cylinder producing a lot of horsepower and torque. And because this is a 2023 press car, you get the round-down. And I believe the round-downs are standard on the M cars, and on the M Sports, like the M340, I forget what it was. It was a $200 or $250 option. You could feel the heat from this engine. All right, now this car has a lot of options. I think I'm going to make a separate video going over the options, since there's so many on this car. But what do we have here? I'll give you a spoiler alert. We have the ceramic brakes, which are a very expensive option. Now, practicality with an M4 convertible, how big are the back seats? Well, I'm 6 feet tall, and that is my driving position right there. And you could probably fit toddlers in the back there, maybe preteen, somebody that doesn't have big feet, certainly. The downside of all convertibles for fitting people is that the back seat is always straight up, so it's not the most comfortable. You're probably not putting baby seats in here, or even booster seats might be tough. Maybe you could do it, but check all your manuals before you do that. As any German car, the gas goes on the right-hand side. We have Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires, so luckily we got this car before the winter. This press car has about 8,000 miles on it. M4 competition, the only way the convertibles come. And you got a nice big round down in the back. You know, on my E90 M3, excuse me, I always thought the M3 symbol was a little too small. So here it's bigger, but look how big this roundel is. That's pretty cool. Now you can open this up. We have the convertible top open, so it's very small. There's no way I could fit my hockey bag in here. So that's probably the limit here on a convertible. You're probably, I don't know, golfers, can you fit one golf bag here? Comment in below if you can. I'm not sure how wide a golf bag is, but you certainly couldn't fit two. Now this compartment in front of us does move forward, I believe, with the top up, giving you extra storage space, but obviously with the top down, it's taking most of your luggage. You have a real nice M exhaust here. I always tell people a real M car has 4 exhaust pipes, 2 on each side, and they're very large in diameter. So if you see a car with a fake M badge has only got 1 small skinny exhaust pipe, it's probably a 328 or something like that. So again, a beautiful looking car. I really thought about getting one of these as my daily driver. I really like the new M3, M4 a lot. On the channel, we reviewed a manual M4, which was rear drive. I test drove an M3 when I was car shopping, when my lease was up on the M340. I didn't film it because it was a test drive at a different dealership. But I always thought, hey, wouldn't it be great to have a convertible as a daily driver? And right now we're sitting inside the M4 convertible. Now this weighs about 350 pounds more than the M4 Coupe. So what we're going to do, first thing we'll do so we can talk a little better in here is I'll probably put the top down so we can hear a little better. So let's see how long it takes. So now this car does not have cooled seats, but I think it's because it's got full leather. So full leather is a $2,500 option, and I think you can have that and have the ventilated seats. How do you know? If you have one right here, it would say it's the same button now, the heated seats and the cooled seats. When you press it, it brings up the menu, and then you would decipher whether you want hot or cold and on what level. And you could actually have hot and cold seats at the same time. So how cool is that? But we do have the neck scarf here, one on each side, one for you, one for your passengers. So if you're driving on a cold fall night, you can keep the top down. That should keep you warm. Sport exhaust button here, just press it. The green means it's on. Take it off. See, the car got much quieter. We put it on, and there you see the loudness. M mode. So now what you could do is you could go in sport. Another way to, and it changes the dials here from regular, and this kind of looks like a regular 3 Series. It looks like my M340 or a 440 or a 330. Then you just press, obviously, the M mode button. You automatically get the up and down tachometer on both sides. Very similar how the 8 Series did it in those tests that we did it. You have optional carbon fiber shift paddles, which I think are worth every penny. We're going over the options in a separate video. You have your shortcut buttons, M1, M2, and then you can press it, brings up other settings. So you could save it, basically. Let's get into the M mode here. We'll go into setup. Now we can drive in efficient for the engine, efficient, sport or sport plus, chassis, comfort, sport or sport plus, steering in comfort or sport, brake in comfort or sport. So let's put the top down up because I think it's going to get a little too noisy in here. All right, so let's count. 1 1000, it's going to do the windows. 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000, 5 1000, 6 1000, 7 1000, 8 1000, 9 1000, 10 1000, 11 1000, 12 1000, and so it's about 12 seconds, just like they said, about 18 seconds to come down. All right, so now we could probably talk in here. Let me lower the fan speed just so we can talk. All right, so this is what's really cool about the car. If you're into tech and changing settings, you're gonna love this. So right now we go sport, we go efficient with the engine. It got quieter. We'll go comfort chassis so we don't have too many bumps with the GoPro. And then we can go to a Sport Plus, see how it got much louder there. A Sport's kind of in between, and efficient. Efficient's very lethargic. I mean, the goal isn't for lap times, obviously. The goal is to be as fuel efficient as possible with this torque converter automatic. And yes, it's a torque converter. So what I didn't like about the last M4 convertible, and I love that car, I really did, is the dual clutch was very jerky in traffic. Well, this is not a dual clutch anymore. It is a torque converter automatic. So it is very smooth in traffic. Now, it's not as exciting going in manual mode, going through the gears, which I'll demonstrate as the dual clutch was, but for day-to-day driving, it is certainly better. So we'll drive in sport for the engine, keep the chassis in comfort. Now, steering is a lot heavier in sport mode than it is comfort. It's kind of very wishy-washy. Same thing with brakes, could be, you know, harder to touch than comfort. I'd like to see what Lotus did, a middle setting. And Lotus has no setting, so they just set up the suspension once and it works perfectly. You know, they just set up the steering once and it's hydraulic and it works perfectly. Here we have electric steering, so it allows you to have a lot of different options, but no option is perfect. And another thing I like about this car, it still has the older iDrive. I believe it's the same, or is it iDrive 7? That is in my M340iX drive. And you could actually, very easy to use, you still have all the hard buttons for the HVAC controls. You still have the 8 presets here that could be preset to anything, radio stations, etc. You don't have the double screen here. That looks pretty cool and modern. The new car is infinitely adjustable, like say a 2023 M2. So if you're a tech junkie, you may like that better. I kind of prefer this system, maybe because I've had 3 years behind the wheel with it, but I just think this is so much easier to use. All right, so we'll take it on a little drive right now. So let's drive with the engine in sport, chassis in comfort. We'll do steering and braking comfort to start out, and then we can put those in sport modes and the engine even in Sport Plus. All right. Now, to toggle between sport and drive, we just keep hitting it over to the right. So we were in sport, which is denoted with an S, so we had a shift there. You could play around with shift speeds just on the right next to the park, and don't actually hit park. But if you hit the shift speeds here, you can go into higher or lower shift speeds, go up or down, which will make it shift faster. I usually do it in there's only 3, I believe, so I usually do it in the faster setting. Now, the automatic is certainly smoother around town. We're already in 5th gear, going the speed limit, 40 miles an hour. And then we can manually go up to the 7th gear if we want. If we do in more of a sport mode, it'll keep us in the lower gears. And if we toggle it over to the right, we're in drive right now, it'll put us in S mode. It doesn't actually say sport mode, it just tells you the gear itself. And then it's up to you to essentially shift. So we can go down into 4th, into 5th, playing with the engine in Sport Plus, which we will in a second. All right, so we're still in that sport mode, and we'll make a right and go around some turns here. So now we can put the chassis in sport. We could do that touch of a button, pretty much keep our eyes forward. There's even a Sport Plus mode, the chassis for the suspension. You probably don't need that unless you're on the track and you're not taking your heavy convertible onto the track. I believe the weight's about 4,300 pounds, so I think a regular M through M4 is about 39 and change. This is about 43 and change because it's about 350 to 400 pounds more with the convertible. Now, it'd be even heavier than that if they went to back to a hardtop convertible. So, hardtop convertible is probably more practical. It does add weight, which makes the handling a little worse, but people who buy convertibles, they took a survey, and they said people who buy convertibles, they want everybody in the world to know they have a convertible. They're convertible enthusiasts, just like we want to have a bright colored sports car. And they actually preferred having the soft top, so this way you have to tell people, oh, it's a hardtop convertible. Look, I have a convertible, and I don't blame them. All right, so plenty of power here. The power really gets to the ground. So you can accelerate with this car, and you know, the 500 plus horsepower, it all gets to the ground with that all-wheel drive. So far, when I've been driving this car, I've been sticking to the sport mode. All right, so we'll just go on the highway for an exit where I can show you a little bit of acceleration. So for that, we'll go into Sport Plus chassis. We'll put the steering in sport. I really like this car. It's really the best of both worlds. If you can get away with not having a full-size back seat and not having a full-size trunk, like I couldn't take this to play hockey because I'm not fitting my hockey bag back there. Now, if I was only playing in the summer, maybe I could throw my bag in the back, but then you got to figure what happens when it rains too. Now that heads-up display gives you shift lights as well. Remember, we're in Sport Plus mode now. So we're in the loudest setting for this car. You could certainly want more noise for sure. Now those 4S tires easily stick to the road on this warm day. These tires usually need, in my experience, I have these tires on my S2000. They do need some heat in them if it's a cold morning, so keep that in mind. I had a little oversteer in my S2000 the other day. All right, so again, steering wheel is really, really thick. It's like super thick, like my hand hurts after driving this for a while. So usually I drive in a 9 and 3 position. This car you may even want to change to 10 and 2, just more comfortable grip. All right, now because we're in Sport Plus mode, we really heard the engine there. Now it's torque converter automatic. It's doing a pretty good imitation of being a dual clutch transmission. All the power gets to the ground. So where this is superior to the last M3, M4 is now with the all-wheel drive, that power really gets to the ground. Before, the M3, M4 had so much torque down low from that turbocharged motor, which it still has, it just couldn't get that power to the ground. It basically overwhelmed the chassis. Where here you don't have to worry about that. With the all-wheel drive now, just like the M5, you know, we didn't like that they were going all-wheel drive, but guess what? It really gets that power to the ground. So for an enthusiast, let's live with the all-wheel drive to get that power down, right? All right, so now going back on the regular roads, let's go to efficient, comfort, for everything else. Now, when you drive efficient, listen to it. In efficient mode, it's a regular car. It's a regular BMW. I could be driving, except for this, the suspension is still kind of stiff in comfort mode compared to, say, a 430. But otherwise, take that suspension stiffness out of the equation, and it feels like a regular BMW, albeit a little louder and a little stiffer. All right, so that is the M4 convertible. I think I'm going to do another video, if I haven't posted before this, or coming next with a night drive, so make sure to subscribe. Make sure to comment in every video what car you want me to review next. I can go to a manufacturer or dealership and saying, hey, I got 50 people saying they want me to review this car. Please, let's make a video of it. So always in every video, let me know the cars you want to see next, and say that every single video in the comments, and like these videos as well. Guys, more videos. There'll be 2 other videos, hopefully, of this car, one with the options and then one with the night drive. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time.